Welcome to Business World. I'm your host Siddharth, and today we are talking to Mr. Nipun Maria, the Director Brand Strategy Vivo India. Recently, Vivo India has actually overtaken Samsung in terms of market share, and Mr. Nipun will be talking to us about different things COVID crisis has brought to the technology and the mobile phone industry. Welcome to the show, sir.
Hi Siddharth. Thank you so much.
So, sir, let's start with what all effects have the COVID crisis brought for Vivo India.
I think overall, if you see everybody's world, both I think in the professional sphere and the personal sphere, almost instantly turned upside down, and it was a very difficult time, especially at the beginning, where all of us had to adjust to multiple things at the same time. But I think the priorities are very clear. Health and safety of employees was of paramount importance. That came first, followed by other things. And because the priorities were clear, I think we were able to take swift actions, and those resulted in fairly good results. And apart from that, in the subsequent chat, we will talk a little bit more about the Vivo Smart Retail. And that's completely a new concept which we've been able to bring to the industry.
Okay, so now that you've said, we've spoken about smart retail. Now, I believe smart retail is online and offline both, right? And in this crisis situation, people are not able to go out, and everybody is dependent on online sales. But post-COVID, this could change. So, could you just tell us about the smart retail initiative?
Sure. So, see, the Smart Retail Initiative is born out of a very simple insight. And that insight is, on one hand, we know that 65 to 70% of India's smartphone market is offline based, which means that for majority of Indian customers, offline is still the preferred mode of buying the smartphone. This is one side of the story. The other side of the story is, as we all know, these days, everybody is a little extra wary of stepping out of their home and stepping into a retail store. So what we wanted to do was, we wanted to bring the two together, wherein you want to buy from offline, we understand that. You don't want to step out of your home, we also understand that. So we have given this platform to our customers, wherein they can submit a lead to us, which means submit an interest basically. And that interest is, I want to buy a phone. And you can send your interest via SMS, via Facebook, or via Vivo India eStore. Once you do that, then all we need to do is, we will take that lead, call you up, explain the product features, help you make the right choice with respect to which model is the right one for you. And then your nearest offline retailer will contact you and help deliver the phone to your doorstep. So you actually bought from an offline store without really stepping out of your home. So this is the Vivo Smart Retail solution, and I'm very happy to share with you that so far we have got close to 30,000 leads in the last 2 weeks.
Great. Sir, this is something like the new term that everybody uses, phygital, physical and digital, right?
Yeah, see, again, in the post-COVID world, as we are all sensing, there will be some change in business models. There will be some change in how things are taken up going forward. And this, of course, is one such initiative in that direction, where very clearly we can see that online, offline, physical, virtual, all the worlds are amalgamating together.
So tell us about V19, the new smartphone which is coming from Vivo.
So Vivo V19, the V series is the flagship series from Vivo. Every 6 months when we launch the Vivo V series, a new product, we know it always has something new in design, sometimes something new on the camera side. So V series is known for its camera capabilities, and the Vivo V19 is also one more step in that direction, which establishes Vivo's supremacy when it comes to camera capabilities, camera qualities, and outputs. Just telling a little bit more about the V19. So it has, say, a front 32+8 dual selfie camera, At the back, it has a 48 MP quad camera setup. But the most important thing which I want everybody or I want to share with everybody is that slowly consumers are evolving from the megapixel number chasing to output chasing, and that's a real difference in approach we are seeing in the last 6 to 9 months from the Indian consumer side, where they know that okay, megapixel is only one part of the story, and megapixel does not necessarily mean that the quality will be exceptional. So we have also taken that into consideration and focused partly on megapixel, but more importantly on what is the final output that the customer is getting, and the kind of output you see whether from the front camera or the rear camera of the Vivo V19, it's absolutely amazing.
What according to you, which cameras are more important for your users, the selfie camera or the rear camera?
Okay, so see, very clearly, I think it depends from person to person and also situation to situation. In some cases, all of us will like to click selfies, and that's the reason selfies are in so much vogue. At the same time, there are situations where the use of rear camera is more important. Our researches also show that usually the importance and the usage is 50-50 between the front and the rear. So in some segments the rear takes slightly more importance, and in the others the front takes more importance. So overall I would say that both the cameras have become integral to any person's smartphone usage today, and therefore both are equally important, and only focusing on one and not on the other, I think, becomes a weakness in the product.
So tell us 5 things that your target customer wants from Vivo products in India.
So see, again, depends on segment to segment. We have the Y series customers, we have the V series customers, we have the S series customers, and different customers have different need priorities. But broadly, just to simply put, I think consumers in general, and not in this specific order, but consumers in general are caring most about these 5 things. The first is camera, whether it is at the point of sale or it is on regular usage. A camera experience is very, very important. What kind of results you are seeing once you click a picture in low light, in bright light, in against light, all these different light situations, challenging light situations, is one very, very important criteria. Camera. The second is design. Design also becomes very important. The phone is an extension of our personality now. So having a phone which is not good looking, having a phone which does not have a great design, does not complement or rather enhance my personality, is not something anybody is really looking after now. So camera, design. The third is a very good battery performance. When phone is literally a workhorse now for all of us, whether it's through work from home, even earlier it was traveling, we really use our phone more than I think anything we have ever used in the history of mankind. So when the phone is being used so much, then the battery of the phone becomes extremely important, and along with battery, fast charging is another feature which has really picked up now. So camera, design, battery. The fourth is performance, and by performance I mean the phone should not hang, the phone should have a smooth user experience. That's the fourth part. And fifth is overall, it has to come from a brand, and the brand should be reliable, trustworthy, and that's the fifth very important part. And the person should emotionally connect with the brand. So these 5 things in my mind are the most important things which a consumer cares about when he's looking to buy a phone.
If I'm not wrong, Oppo is the sister entity of Vivo, and they are positioned in similar segments, and under BBK. So do you expect some sort of cannibalization happening, because some of your customers are weaned away towards Oppo, and Oppo customers get weaned away by Vivo. So there's always this cutthroat competition of prices because it's a price sensitive segment.
So interesting question, and in fact I can take this opportunity to clear this doubt or clear this misconception which possibly a lot of people have. First of all, Vivo and Oppo we are not sister companies, so to speak. We are competitors in every sense of the word, and Vivo is managed completely separately, and Oppo similarly has its own management, R&D, and a complete organization on its own. So between Vivo and Oppo, it is not that we are going to consult Oppo on which segment they are going to attack or which product they are going to launch. For us, whether it is Oppo or Xiaomi or Samsung or OnePlus or any of the other brands, they are all put in one bucket, and that bucket is the competition bucket. And that's the way it is. So cannibalization or no cannibalization, the question does not arise because we are not related to each other when it comes to operating in the market.
Right now, the sentiments are not in favor of anything which is Chinese. So, I mean, there's too much anti-India sentiment, especially when that ICVC took a stake in HDFC. So, how do you, think you'll be able to, clear the brand perception and all when customers are little bit, cagey about anything which is Chinese? I'm not talking about your brand specifically. I'm talking about Chinese brands per se. There is too many geopolitical tensions happening. So, how would you what kind of strategies will you be chalking out?
See, again, I think let's keep the canvas of this answer with respect to Vivo, because I think that's the way we can address this question. And when it comes to Vivo, and in the last 5 years, as Vivo has established itself brick by brick in India, I think one thing we have always been very focused on and been very clear about is our India commitment. And the fact that we have been able to grow from a brand which was zero nearly 5.5 years back to a brand which has become the number one brand in offline and the number two brand overall in the Indian market is on the back of strong love and strong support from customers, retailers, business partners, etc., etc. So it has not happened without the support of our retailers and customers. And going forward also, we certainly believe that love and support is going to continue, because a lot of people, especially people who are within the Vivo ecosystem, which means whether it's retailers or our partners, they know the kind of investments Vivo has done in establishing its India commitment. Whether it's in terms of the Make in India, where 100% of whatever we sell in India is made in India. We have also gone out there and spoken about the 7,500 crores investment which we are going to make in India with respect to manufacturing. The 10,000 people who are directly working on the factory, another 30,000-40,000 people who are being employed, being given jobs by India, by Vivo. Then whatever limited CSR efforts we have been able to do, again as a responsible corporate, that was something which we had to do. So time and time again we have reiterated our India commitment and shown it through actions. So I think consumers understand that and consumers appreciate that, and that's also the reason why we have become what we have become so far. And I'm really grateful to our consumers for that. And going forward also, I hope that this support and this love will continue.
And another direct question, sir. I just came across a media report. It says that some employees of Vivo got infected at the plant. So, is it a cause for concern for you, and how are you coping with that? And how you want to make sure that it doesn't happen in the future? Because that's becoming a burning issue. It's actually affecting the economy more than the health. It is affecting the economy also.
About the report, again. 2 points of clarification. First, they were not our employees. They were as I told you about the 7,500 crore investment we are doing. We are making another factory, which is around 15 kilometers away from our existing factory. And the two people who were tested were construction workers and guards in that construction facility, and therefore they were construction workers on the roles of our contractor, and they were not Vivo employees in the first place. Second, those tests were also they were falsely tested positive. When they were tested at the government lab, both the people turned out to be negative, thankfully. So this is the first point of clarification. And more importantly, anybody in the Vivo factory where we are actually making phones, nobody has tested positive. So the second is about the way going forward. So we are extremely cognizant of the fact that our health and safety of our employees is of paramount importance. It's even more important than business and than making phones. So therefore, we are taking all the necessary steps prescribed by the government, prescribed by the medical fraternity, whether it is social distancing, masks, body temperature checking, constant hand washing, sanitization. All the necessary steps and precautions are being taken to ensure that our factory workers are safe and healthy. So rest, see, you also know this is such a virus which 100% we cannot control. So, but whatever is in our hands, whatever we can do to ensure that our people are safe, we are taking all those necessary steps.
So you already have a facility, so that's up and running. So what is this new facility about? Right now the market is actually in a downturn, so you're building a facility when the demand, when the sentiments are low. So if you can help us understand that.
Okay. Yes, the sentiment is slightly low right now. However, again, as I go back to Vivo's India commitment, we are not thinking of the India market as a 2-year journey or as a 5-year journey. For us, the way we think about India and Vivo, the vision we have that this is a very, very long journey, and in this long journey, investments will have to be continuously made. And these ups and downs happen in economy. You know that it has happened in the past also, and this is also one such blip which has come. But this too shall pass. The larger story of Vivo's India commitment is strong and is going to continue even going forward. So this 7,500 crores which we are talking about, which goes into expanding our manufacturing facility, even ensuring that the whole ecosystem is built around the Vivo factory. That's what all this investment is about, and it will happen, of course, in a phase-wise manner, where a couple of phases have already started and finished, while the larger facility the work has already started, but we are still a little far away from completing it.
Okay. So, Abhishek, 7,500 crore is beyond is your own facility. It's not your.
Yes.
Okay. And the other one, the first one, how much have you invested for that? If you can just.
Sure. So the exact numbers will be difficult to share in the first phase. But what I can tell you is that around 10,000 people before the coronavirus, around 10,000 people were working in that factory, and our annual capacity is around 3 crore phones which can be made per year from that facility. So around 3 crore phones is the capacity, and 10,000 people were getting job there, getting employed there.
Okay. Everybody is getting their news, entertainment, content from smartphones. And post-COVID, do you think this will increase, or the trend will remain the same, or it will decrease? How do you think? Where do you think the industry will go?
So, smartphones were extremely important earlier, and I think the importance is going to only increase even going forward. So this is I think the importance of smartphones. Otherwise, see, something is already almost full. How much more can you increase? And I think smartphones are those things has now become one of the most essential things which a person owns, apart from clothes, living, etc., etc. So I don't have any doubts that smartphone, first of all, required any special emphasis or making anybody realize the importance of smartphones. Even if somebody had any doubt, I think those doubts are cleared now.
So would you like to get into a little bit affordable segment? Right now, if I'm not wrong, the lease price is around 8,000 to 9,000. Little bit more affordable to take on Xiaomi, Samsung and other models, to take on the masses, to cater to masses rather than classes. That's question. That's part A of my question. Part B, what about product diversification? Can we expect Vivo tablets, televisions, and other product lines?
So I'll answer both the questions together with one single point, which is we enter a particular segment or offer products in a particular segment only when we are 100% sure that this product deserves the Vivo brand. And this product will be able to give the kind of experience that a customer expects from Vivo, because Vivo has always stood for certain level of quality, certain level of experience, and those parameters should only go up. And therefore, whether it is entering into any other category or launching at particular price points, if it is not a delight for the customer, then we should not be doing that. So this is the basic principle we follow, and therefore entering into or diversification into other segments also, we are closely watching it, and we will launch whenever we think the parameters which I mentioned earlier, those parameters can be met. Secondly, on the first part of the question, which is about price points, around 7,000 rupees is what the Vivo phones are available at right now. And the primary reason why, again, we are stuck to this price point and not gone below this is because we believe the kind of experience we want a person to experience from Vivo, right now it cannot be delivered at a price point below that. Hence, we haven't gone. If technology evolves to a level where at a lower level also great experience can be provided, then of course we can consider that.